And good evening, call the North Station Building Replacement Committee meeting to order 5:15, October 9th, 2024. For the recording, go around the table, state your name.
Tracy Jeware.
Marie Kilbride.
Michael Murdoch.
Carl Rocca.
Harry Parker.
Any adjustments to the agenda? All right, any public comment? Okay, now approve the minutes of the September 11th, 2024 meeting. And send out the email, give you a minute to review, take a motion and a second when you're ready.
I've reviewed. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of September 11th, 2024.
Motion by Carl,
Second.
seconded by Harry. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. All right. Discussion and action, review the plans,
So we have two new sets of plans,
okay?
all the changes and corrections we wanted last time with the new renderings. Probably the copy plate supposed to print renderings in color,
Yep,
copy is supposed to be in color,
okay,
much better in color, so you can see all the detail,
okay,
but we have those now.
yep,
Only thing I feel missing right now in the sets is the structural floor plan of the second floor plan of the fire department.
okay,
When I get that, I want to give the entire two sets one last review,
yep.
and we should be golden.
And
Okay,
I'll get with Terry tomorrow.
Short of other additions or corrections you guys want to do.
Can you
So-
send out, Robert, can you send out, like in a PDF or whatever, the renderings? So we can take a look at it in color there on our,
Yes, would you guys, so last time we had printed up. And put on a phone book. I don't know if you want something like that. but-
well, eventually there, we're gonna
Okay.
need that,
Okay,
but,
yeah, we can-
okay. But yes, I can send the PDF out of those, yeah.
okay, because then what we can do is that we can send one there, so when we do a presentation or whatever,
Yeah.
that can be put on the big screen.
Correct.
yeah,
Cool.
and we're gonna be doing, mailers,
Mhm.
with the art stuff, so, yeah, you can send those, both those, my email as well.
I'd just like to update my email again for this group. It's North Hero Vermont. All spelled out at Gmail.
Same as last time you did that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I got it. That's me.
Because I keep on getting Harry's
Yeah.
emails.
That was the plan.
And I hope you don't mind, I deleted them all.
Hmm?
Just send me. Not soon, but it's fine.
I forgot the email,
You want them to set 5 minutes a second.
okay,
If you want to take them, I'll take them and try and track them down.
where are we gonna leave all these sets? Where they can be obtained?
Why don't we leave them here? And if you get with Lisa in the morning, or I can get with Lisa, whatever. And Lisa or Corinne. And they can have a special little shelf there that they can put them all on. And then that way there, we don't have all these things floating around here and there and whatever.
Yeah, one,
Because I know John wanted to have a,
yeah,
so then he can just come on down with town clerk here.
What you guys should do is all previous large sets that I've given you guys, the small sets, you're gonna toss them or whatever. The large sets, you should just write void on all the previous ones, and put void 1, void 2, that way you see the progression of them. And then keep your last set as you go.
Yeah.
Now you can toss them all out as well, but I like to keep that running set going.
Okay. Yeah, I would just leave them here. Leave them here and then I'll make contact there with Lisa and Corinne tomorrow.
okay,
And I'll just say, hey, can you put these in a safe spot? So that if somebody inquires about it. Whether it be John or whatever.
yeah.
This set I'll leave for you, same way, but I'll put a note on it, or I can try and drop this off at Cedar Ledge if you want. I know he's not there anymore.
No, he's not there. He's
Son-in-law.
at his house, but,
Yeah,
um,
I mean, I can text him, he can come by the shop.
Okay.
Or whatever.
Okay, cool. And that's the only thing. So right now, invoices, these are the last ones. There will be one additional invoice that'll strictly be Cedar Ledge's bill for the renderings. And I was told that would be in the ballpark about $1,500 for the two buildings,
15 combined or?
15 combined.
Right.
Picked up on this earlier, but I do not see concrete pads at each of the exit doors.
Hmm.
So there's no pad near this one, and then this secondary
Yep.
exit or into the stairwell. The pad only comes up to the side entrance, it doesn't have to the secondary. And the swing on that door should probably be the opposite.
Wait,
This one, this exterior door could be this way. Because everybody's gonna be walking the pad this way.
okay.
So are these are the latest set and you sent out the email.
All right.
Okay, cause I sent. I sent an email with these attached to Jeff Bryant.
What set is this? This is the fire department? What
This is
sound?
fire department.
Fire department. Rear side door. Rear one door.
Which way we were ordering, we're not.
Yep, makes sense.
Denoting pads for.
All right, anything else on this item? Tracy?
I don't think so.
Next item, DR conditions, Mylar, and stormwater addition to plans. So. We have the conditions letter. Mylar will need to be filed. With that, I'm trying to get my hands, I believe I have it in an email. Stormwater. Drawing. That Krebs did. And. You can probably have. Copies printed and added to these. That way it's standalone, and also wastewater. Think we've got the design. Downstairs,
You should.
I'm looking at that, see if I can have those printed off.
I mean, we should be able to find it on the wastewater website too. So if you can't find it easily, shoot me an email and I can pull everything down from DEC.
Okay,
Everything's in place as far as like wastewater permit,
Yeah,
yes,
all that stuff in place, stormwater permits as well.
With the rest of the drawings, so when the second printed, I was like,
okay. All right, next item, RFP development. So Phil made contact with Don Stewart. And I sent him a copy of the plans, try to have him and his estimator look at it, try to give us a ballpark.
Right.
Seem really excited to help out a little bit, so.
No word back.
No word back
No
yet.
word back. Okay.
I think his estimated ones on Lakeview Drive. But he was gonna send them to the site, so we could kind of take a look.
Right.
Hopefully we go. Give us an idea, and then, that will satisfy the budget portion of what we think,
Inquiry.
and we'll get together with John.
One sufficient enough at this point, as far as getting a budgetary figure? Figure be looking at somebody else. That's just a question.
I mean, I think it's good. I think it's really good to get a baseline
Yeah, just to,
and, you know, because if we have a general number that's gonna be associated with the project, you know, for each component of the project.
Hmm.
It's gonna put us in a position where we'll be able to complete some of the grant applications that, you know, that we had discussed at previous meetings. We know how
Right.
much money we need to raise in order to do, you know, matching grants or 100% grants.
Yeah.
It's gonna give us a better idea about bonding and timing,
Yeah.
all that
Sure,
stuff.
sure.
So having that first financial analysis, I think is gonna be
Key.
key.
yes.
And
Yeah.
then, you know, we'll see what happens when you put out the RFP, if there's a wide discrepancy, but
Well, hopefully someone from Stewart can get back to us just to see, I mean, the feasibility of this. I mean, I'm hoping that's all feasible.
Mhm.
yeah.
I think it is, but, and by them looking this over, if there's something there that we may have missed,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Be nice to have another
Set of
set of eyes on it there that they do this all the time, so.
Right.
And then I'd say, hey, let's get it run, you know, put out an RFP there to get it to other places and see what people, how hungry people are.
And I would say after the first week in November, if we're tentatively gonna have a bond vote in January, what's the warning period? What's the tentative public information? So we don't have a whole lot of time to,
There's not a whole lot of time. I mean, there's time, but we're already into the first week here, or we're into our second week in October,
right?
so, and I don't know, well.
I mean, if we
you're
put a 30-day deadline on an RFP, we need to put that out quick, in order to have something ready to go by the end of November.
saying- Yeah,
Just something you have to have a public forum on, open to the public prior to.
Prior to the bond vote, you could have
prior to the
informational
bond vote.
meetings.
Obviously, they need to know what they're voting on, figures and so on. Yeah,
Well, if we have a tentative quote,
It might be enough.
and then I mean, what's policy if we had a bond vote based on the quote?
I'd have to refresh my recollection, but I know when the water board did their recent bond, I think they had 2 public informational meetings before. Where they received feedback,
Mhm.
before the bond vote, and I'd have to look back at last year's timeline.
Did they send the RFP out prior to or after the bond vote? I haven't seen an RFP yet.
Well, I think in that particular case, they likely sent it out after because you can't spend the money unless you get approval. And so if you get approval,
So there's no policy as far as steps A through E regarding,
proper procedure,
proper
protocol.
procedure. So there's no policy saying we have to have the RFP out and back before we have the bond vote.
well, I guess I was looking at this from a practical construction standpoint. If we want to have a bond vote in January, And if we want to start construction in the spring. I mean, I suppose if we get the RFP out in February, March, that might give us enough time. But if we want to get on the calendar for a spring construction project, you kind of want to get those people lined up like
Well, you gotta line up
June
that,
of
Yeah,
earlier
Well,
this
yeah,
year.
What I'm saying is I don't want. Day 28 of the RFP to be returned. Hindering. The bond vote.
No,
I
understood.
don't want them late to the game.
I'll take a look at that. And I'll just,
Like the water board, I believe the bond said. Use words like up to. X number of dollars,
right,
or not more than
or
that.
not to exceed, not to exceed.
and it kind of makes you wonder if we need to get a greater variety of responses on the overall project cost. If we're gonna use similar language. Or we'll wanna have a pretty good idea from at least one person and build in some cushion.
Right.
And I don't know what reasonable cushion is for commercial construction. I don't know if it's 10%, if it's 15%, it's 20%. If you want to build in enough room to be able to field a reasonable number of RFPs and then make a selection of who you hire based on the standard criteria, you make that selection on, even if it exceeds the initial estimate that we might get from Stewart. So just building in enough protection for this group to be able to choose who we want to choose, not handcuff ourselves.
Right.
Letters going out to all sorts of vendors saying that pricing for estimates right now is fluid. So they
Right.
might price you $10 for a part. And then it finally comes in and they're actually gonna charge you what it actually costs. Then it's not stationary even 15 days later.
Yeah.
So if we're getting a price, we're gonna wanna chart, at least put in a cushion, I would say 25.
Cushion. It's gonna be clause in there for
25%
that.
minimum.
25%, and if we don't use it, fantastic. But it kind of covers us and the town so that they know what we're spending.
Most good estimators go high.
Yeah.
To begin with. I'm in shock sometimes, see some of the numbers come in, and I know it can't be what they're quoting, but they quote high. So it shouldn't be a problem, if they quote high.
Well, the stock strike could affect things too.
So if it comes in high, will we know that? Will we be able to tell by looking at that? Or will we do that plus 25% if they?
Well, yeah, that's what we're looking at there, is to have that as kind of like a contingency funding or whatever, the 25% buffer.
Price of steel might jump a whole lot, or it might go down a whole lot by the time we start
Right.
buying beams.
Sure.
Concrete prices fluctuate, petroleum-based products, even the timber that we're using, so.
Certain things there that are out of their control.
Yeah, I get it. The
Yeah.
only thing I'm thinking is that whatever final figure we come up with
Mhm.
has to be, the taxpayer has to swallow it.
Oh, yeah. Exactly,
So,
you're right.
Right,
Swallow
I
it,
think
makes,
if we're upfront and open about. I mean, there's no secret that pricing
it's volatile at this point.
is, it's all over the place, and
Right.
if we're. So we built in X number of percent to this project to manage possible increases. I think if we're open and upfront about that at the public information meetings, I don't think they're
Yeah.
gonna.
You might also try and get a contractor who's willing to give you a fixed price. His fee for construction. And then obviously what's left over materials, they fluctuate.
Yeah.
And have them separate those two numbers.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, I'll work on getting a firm timeline together for when we need to begin the formal statutory process of informational meetings so that we can bond by, January 15th, January.
well, we'd like to be in that first group. the first group there for the bonding. And they have the group in the beginning part of the year, and then they have a group later on in the year.
Yeah, and I forgot what the cutoff.
And I forget, but in January, there wouldn't be it's sometime in January, I believe.
I'll just say the early January cutoff for first bonding pool.
Thank you, Harry.
Thank you. Anything else on this?
No, they're good. And with those walkways, you don't want the walkways in the back of the fire station or the town garage to come forward walkways.
No, just a step.
Just
Just
a
a
step.
step.
Okay, yeah. It's the main way out.
Clerk of the work updates.
We haven't talked.
Okay.
Yeah, we have to sit down and talk.
Who's supposed to? Invoices.
Provisions.
No, I don't do.
Get this, I emailed enough to get this for that thing.
So I got it.
I got it.
Good. Looks like, 3 invoices. On your September 24th. Town garage, $900. Robert Echo. And for the fire station. $900. And reimbursement to Robert for printing of the plans. $359.48.
Make a motion to approve the invoices as presented.
Got a motion by Harry, any second?
I'll second.
Well, Maru seconds.
Seconded by Marie, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
On that note there, Robert, just, we'll take care of the stuff here for the fire department there and whatever, but I would just, as far as like the copies we've been getting, I know it costs money there, whatever, for you to go into town and everything like that, but, we don't necessarily need a ton back more, you know what I mean?
So this was the first time you guys are paying for the small sets.
Yeah,
The small sets I've always done in my office,
okay,
and I've never charged for that.
yeah,
The large sets I've always gotten from them,
yeah,
they charge, we didn't have 4 sets instead of 2 this time, so I was in shock when I went to the place yesterday to pick them up.
yeah,
And again, I had, because it's last minute, I had them do the printing for that.
okay.
Typically, I don't.
I'm just trying to save some trees.
Yeah, I hear you.
The select board just had 182 pages at their last select board meeting, so.
One other item before we adjourn. I had Lisa take a look at the expenditures from start of the committee to where we are now. And I'm not gonna run through them, but I can email it to the group. But with permitting, architectural,
Land purchase,
land purchase, consulting, septic, equipment rental, screening. To date, we are at $179,468.83. So we're at 180,000. We haven't even stuck a shovel on the ground.
It's a big number.
What's there for septic? Septic is just designed at this point?
no,
There's no, is there,
Installed.
it's
installed?
installed.
Oh, okay.
There's actually,
Well, I see pictures, that's all I.
well, there's a
know.
pipe,
It's
there's a
deadheaded.
pipe there, it's
Yeah.
deadheaded,
It's deadheaded.
okay, I can. kind of point that out to you there. There should be a stake in the ground somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Where it's been deadheaded, okay, but then that flows on out to
Yeah.
to a field out
Picture
back.
out, Yeah, yeah, so that.
Okay, so,
Yeah.
but that was all installed.
Trying to separate
Previously.
everything to,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah, I just,
Just tried $6,000, but that was done,
years ago.
well, that was done years ago, but it was also.
Done like 10 or so.
Public Works there.
I did some stuff on the charging stations too, if you want to talk about that.
Oh, yeah, go ahead, you
So, a little while ago, I started talking to some companies about putting in some, EV charging stations in the parking lot. Blink finally got back to me. They are doing a basic feasibility study if they wanna put their equipment in there. Things that they can put in are, type 3 or type 2, charging stations. Type 3, I don't know much about EV charging, but type 3 is like your fastest. You're in, out,
Mhm.
like half an hour. Type 2 is a little bit longer. Type 3 needs 480. Type 3, 480 amp type 3 phase, or 3 phase, sorry. And the type 2 needs 208, so they're looking at,
Both a 3-phase voltage.
now they typically sell the unit and then we'd have to do all of the work. I was like, no, that's not what we want. We want you to come in, put your stuff down. So it's called a hybrid contract, which would be they provide us with the equipment, but they maintain and do all of the bookkeeping and all that. The things that we would have to do is the infrastructure. So we'd have to do all the conduit, the pulling the wires, like all of that stuff, so that if we decide at the end of the contract to not allow Blink in and we want somebody else to come in, we already own the infrastructure. They just pull their equipment and the new company can put their equipment in. The typical payout on that is 70% goes to Blink, 30% goes to the fire department or town, depending on how we set that up.
Right?
They have a couple of different charging systems. They can go up to 360 kilowatt, but that isn't accepted by a lot of EV cars. They said they would go up to about a 240 kilowatt, which is basically all of the EV cars that are out there can accept that rate of charge. And right now they're doing 39 cents per kilowatt hour for Blink members and 49 cents for non-members. So anybody can use the system. It's not just Tesla, it's not just Honda, it's
Right.
everybody.
Right?
And so they're looking at the location and what our traffic is for EV users, what's registered here, what's, how many vacation homes are here, all that stuff. And they're gonna be getting back to me on what they think is gonna be the best. Is it gonna be stage 3? Is it gonna be stage 2? And then we can keep going from there. We did talk about location of the charging stations. And it would be 2 or 3 units in parking lots 17 and 19, the furthest from the building. And there's enough space between here for the charging stations. And then we have the pole here. I think that was the pole. So we can bring all of their stuff right here. The fuses and all that, and then the stations will be right here. Being able to be read from the road. And at that point, if we decide to pull forward with it, we can do advertising through Front Porch Forum or through the town saying these things are available for all of the rental places that are around. They can say you can't charge at a house, you need to charge at the local place,
Mhm.
which would give us a little bit more foot traffic.
I just asked them about as far as like liability concerns. Who carries that? I mean, as far as, let's say there's somebody plugs in their car and it blows up.
It is their equipment.
It's their equipment.
Yes.
Okay, so they would be held liable for that.
Right, everything for infrastructure would be ours. But after the equipment, it's theirs. But I will double check and if we end up going through that way and have it worded in the contract,
And if somebody cuts the cables off, that's them.
correct?
Okay.
And the final thing on that is they would send us the equipment and it would be on whoever we have for an electrician to install. And then they come and do a final check to make sure everything's good, all the diagnostics are done, all that. So basically, they give us the equipment and then they do all the building.
Okay.
Okay.
And there are grants out for that, for those EV chargers.
What was that?
There are grants available out there.
Yeah.
Um,
They're plugged into all that stuff so that they get the best deals for that stuff.
okay.
And it's up to 30% depending on which system we go with, because type 2 is about half the cost of a type 3 charging station.
Yeah.
So that 30% is up to, depending on coverage, and then after the first year, they're willing to renegotiate, say, hey, you had great traffic, let's bump you up to X amount.
Okay. Super.
What happened to the library having them, like that, quickly?
Well, the library there had to put that, they had to basically say no. And it was only because they were looking potentially at the addition. And I had spoken with certain members there and I said, well, you don't wanna have these EV chargers in when you're doing construction here.
Right.
And then people are parked there charging their vehicles there, and yet you're running construction equipment through there in order to be doing this addition, so.
So they're not doing them at all, or?
At this point, no, they have decided my information is they've decided no, they handed that back.
Okay,
And so, I mean, there'll be another time for it, but, you know,
I think they would need to probably put in a concrete pad or pave that parking lot in order for those
Yeah,
chargers.
and that
to
was the other issue. There was the paving of the parking lot and.
gotcha.
so,
Okay.
What about lighting for these things? Normally you wouldn't like that area, would you?
I think there is a street light right near,
There is a street light there. Yeah.
like,
Right across the road, too.
yeah, so there's a street light here across the road, and I believe we have a street light right there and right here,
So it is lit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and right here. So there's a bunch of street lights.
Just for the safety of the building is all I was thinking.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. All right. Anything else before we adjourn?
Next meeting day? This second Wednesday, same.
Yeah,
That's before deer season. All right,
Or is it? Yes.
yeah, it is.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Seconded by Carl, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you all.